All right, hello everyone. Lightning apparently strikes twice. I've got another video out, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Sam, also known as Whiteblade 111. They approached me with this really fun idea, and I think y'all will enjoy watching it. But I wanna throw the floor to them, have them give a very quick introduction for those of you who somehow have missed who Sam is, and then they'll talk about a bit of the concept of this video.
Hey everybody, I'm Sam. Probably know me online as Whiteblade 111. I've been playing Netrunner for a very long time now. I take the game pretty seriously at a competitive level. I've done some tournament organizing. I'm a former organizer for Cascadia on the West Coast. I also am a co-host on the ShadowNet, and we did a segment about 2 months ago where we talked about our favorite and least favorite cards from each faction, and people really liked that, and it made me think, man, it'd be really cool to do that, but like look back at the history of the game. And so what Jeff and I are going to be doing today is we're going to be evaluating what is the best card and what is the worst card from each product release. So we're going to start with the core set and then work our way through the cycles. We're not going to go by data pack because we value our time and sanity.
Yeah, I have a finite amount of time in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe
we're gonna
pretty
do
baby Jeff, but
yeah, we're gonna do. So we'll do the core set, and then Genesis cycle, and then creation and control, and so on until we get all the way up to elevation. So I think, we'll start with the core set. This is like original 2012 core set. When did you start playing Netrunner, Jeff?
So I didn't start playing Netrunner until 2014 is the date I have in my head, because I think I got it as a Christmas gift at the end of 2013. I started playing a little bit in 2014. And at that time I was like, I've got my core set, and I would pick up 1 or 2 data packs like a month. And that was like my cycle for a long, maybe not, actually no, it was definitely faster than that, but it was I would go to the game store, buy 1 or 2 new data packs, and come back to my dorm room and play with, me and my friends would build all of our new cards, and we would go out for a bit. So I think 2014. When I was going back through these, there's a part where I'm like, oh, I remember hearing the hype about this thing. So yeah, it's I joined midway through Spin. I remember seeing Honor and Profit teasers, and then Lunar was the first cycle I was there from the beginning for.
I think you and I are in the same boat, because I think I probably would have picked up the core set in just the end of probably Christmas 2012, just after this core set came out. I was really young at the time. I was probably 13, 14 years old. I just started high school, and I didn't know what Magic the Gathering even was. I played board games with my dad, and we played some board games together, so I knew what a board game was. But I remember I got the core set, and I played that a bunch with some friends, and the idea that you could buy expansions for a card game, or even what a card game was on a conceptual level, was just sort of beyond me. I remember I got Creation and Control, I think for my birthday, a year later, and I was like, this is kind of weird because there's only Shaper and HB cards in here. There's no cards for the other factions. But I was like, that's a weird way to do expansions, but whatever. And then it wasn't really until Honor and Profit that my mom got me Honor and Profit a year later after that for my birthday, and she saw an ad for a tournament in the game store, and she passed it along. And then that's how I started going to Netrunner tournaments. So Lunar was also the first cycle where I could remember opening every Lunar data pack. But Genesis and Spin was stuff I went back and collected because I was only getting the big boxes.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think is the best card in the 2012 core set?
I feel like I'm trolling with this answer, which is wild, but I think it's AstroScript Pilot Program.
It's such a bait answer.
I think so. I was looking at this and I was legit. So there is I think I would put good money. I know what your answer on this is. We also, for the viewer at home, we've very carefully not told each other a single thing about what we think we're gonna pick. No. So I think you're gonna say Account Siphon. But
it's Account Siphon. It is Account Siphon. Okay, why is it AstroScript? Why is it AstroScript?
So I think AstroScript is an I. What's the way? So it is a difficult walk for me to justify it because Account Siphon is a completely busted card. I think the difference to me is AstroScript Pilot Program is basically a win condition card in an agenda slot. And that is both for the time and then as we progress forward in the era of Netrunner, like one of the most powerful like compression pieces you can have in the game. And there are ways that Account Siphon has been retread and like obviously powered down, but like is quite strong, that make it like a thing that is often very strong, but not universally very strong. Now, I think you could make all of the same arguments about Astro, but kind of, I want to try and make an argument for a non-Account Siphon card. And so...
I was going to say that, like, I feel like if we're picking NBN agendas, I think Breaking News is better than...
I mean, that's
Pilot Program.
Yeah. I think that is also the issue is that like Breaking News is a wild ass. It's like NBN just got these like got a lot of those two are particularly stand out in like high power level agendas for NBN.
I think the issue I have with AstroScript is that like whenever I think like if we could go back in time and like look at how people were playing the game in like 2012 to 2015, I think like it probably is AstroScript. Yeah. I think the problem is like whenever like there's always like the UK Classic matchups and like I think like Prepaid Kate versus AstroScript, NEH AstroScript is like one of those matchups. Yeah. And the NEH can't buy a win.
No, yeah,
bad.
I've played that matchup so many times, or maybe not so many times. I've played it like a handful of times, and the only time I've won is when as NEH is when the Kate player just makes like an egregious misplay. This doesn't maybe look egregious, but it's just like, oh yeah, they didn't check to see if there's a CVS on the board, because that's like your only way to win that matchup in a lot of cases, right? So it's like, yeah.
I think it's hard because it's like when the ice was worse, people were just like people were just like worse at the game, like generally, like people were just like bad. Like you go back and look at like regionals footage from like 2014 or 2013, and it's like very clear that like when people play Netrunner now, there's like basically 10 years of like accumulated like theory and deck building knowledge about like how to build a Netrunner deck, like how to play the card game. Back in 2013, it was like no one had any idea, and I think was one of the reasons actually Dan Darginio was so successful, because like Dan Darginio was like he's like the first 2-time world champion, and Dan Darginio is just really good at games. Like generally, like it's not just he's good at poker, he's good at like these other games, and like I think Dan Darginio's one of his strengths early was he was really able to recognize and build out some of these early play patterns and evaluate the card pool in a way that like other people had to catch up to him. But I think like the Astro thing is just like Account Siphon, like here's why I think Account Siphon is just better than AstroScript. Account Siphon just was run the game in every format it's been in. Yeah. And it also like was not only just really good in like it was obviously like really good in Criminal, but it was also just like insane in Max when that was like legal. So you could mill it in your graveyard, play it with same old thing. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I think part of my art, the best version of this art, like I agree with you. The best version of the argument, the best version I can make of that argument is Account Siphon. I think actually relied more on cards like Same Old Thing and like Moment of Tempo, whereas AstroScript Pilot Program, like you still needed a condition to get the first one, but then it was a self-contained package from there. And that first condition was less card pool dependent in theory, though I think in practice, like, Account Siphon did just run the game. So I think, I don't disagree with you there, I think in reality. That said,
imagine a world Audacity I could imagine a world that like if AstroScript and Pilot Program and Audacity were in the same card pool, it would be like by and far the best thing a corp could do.
Yeah. Like, I actually
cheap credit fast advance with Astro's fucked.
Yeah, because like there was a while where what was it called, like Russian NEH, where it was like, oh yeah, I will score with like I'll use shipment from SanSan not as any combo piece, just as like I can score from 0 out of an Account Siphon with an AstroScript token. So.
Okay.
So I'm
gonna tell you what I think the
Yeah, I was gonna say almost the more interesting question I think in core is what do we think the worst card is here?
I feel really confident in my choice. I think the worst card in the core set, like by actual like pretty reasonable delineation, is Access to Global Sec.
Oh wow, we hit the same one! Wow, I had one that was really close to that, but yeah, no, I agree. Access to Global Sec is a hilarious card. It really, to me, it feels a little bit like when designing it, they're like, well, we need to make the runner starter deck where you just take all the neutrals and all of the faction cards. We need to make the runners like a little bit worse. So we're just gonna slap this card in here. I think this is like, yeah, I don't know. It's so funny to me.
Okay, so here's my theory on Access to Global Sec. And if you look at original Netrunner from the 90s, link cards were actually a really important part of the game because traces worked entirely differently. In Netrunner today, a trace it's a set value, the corporation pays first, and then the runner pays in. But in old Netrunner, you had to have a link card in place so you could actually like pay into the trace basically. And then what happened, like Lucas is like Lucas Litzinger, who's the first like basically developer of like designer of A&R, I think alongside Nate French maybe, but like he's the first like person who like develops it after the core set comes out. He's basically like, we had to traces like was one of those mechanics that basically had to get revamped from old Netrunner to modern Netrunner. And I bet that this card did something different in the original design when traces worked differently. And then they realized like they realized like, oh, we have to like redo traces, and now we have this card Access to Global Sec. Like, because the card is basically just a callback to O&R.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah.
But it's completely useless.
You needed that base trace to even like have a chance of surviving a trace or something, but it's like and probably just like it got changed over time. That it was probably always in the like, oh, we'll come back and fix this card one day, and then we gotta publish. Okay, well that's what text this thing has. So yeah, this is it is astoundingly useful. I think there's there's a somewhat close second. I'm kind of curious. So to me, the closest second place card is Zaibatsu Loyalty.
Yeah, that's not good, dude. it's like weird because I don't even know if there are any NSG cards that do expose.
I don't think there are any more.
Like, I don't think a single NSG card actually exposes.
Yeah, I'm gonna check, but yeah.
And so it's just like, expose is like one of those mechanics in the core set that like alongside Bad Pub that like they just obviously were like, we're gonna put this in the core set and like we'll traces
we'll
Bad
flesh
Pub
it out later, like
we'll flesh it out later, which like happens in core sets and card games all the time where they're just like you don't have time to like develop every mechanic super deeply, and then like it just never was good. Expose was never good. All the exposed cards were bad.
I mean, well, okay. I don't think we're actually going to talk about almost any of these cards, but like the tap dancing, like exposed, like decks were solid, but that was because you had the Aurivore Snitch, like exposed combo decks, but that's because it's like
that's true.
But that wasn't like, oh, expose itself was inherently good. It was, we staple a credit and a whenever text onto this other keyword, and that's what was good, right? And
no. Snitch doesn't expose the card.
Wait, what? How did that work?
I'm wrong.
No, but I think I'm getting the Aurivore. There was a different exposed combo. That Aurivore was Jack Out, I think, right?
No, but it allows you to expose the unrest piece of ice and then you Jack Out.
Okay.
What is I think there was always that console from Unknown Prophet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Blackguard, right?
Blackguard, where you like expose a piece of ice and then Blackguard makes the corpor as the ice.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you watching along at home, you'll notice that we are 15 minutes in. We haven't made it past the core set, and I don't think we're going to be going that much faster overall. So,
okay, so now we go to the Spin Cycle. So Genesis Cycle. This is the first cycle of Netrunner cards. Yeah. This was developed basically
simultaneously,
alongside the core set.
Probably, yeah.
Alongside the core set, for sure. The first two cycles would basically they had a 2 cycle lead time. So
Yeah.
Genesis and Spin were both in development alongside the core set. This is why also the Lunar cards are like so much better than the Spin Cycle, just because
Oh,
like
that makes sense. Okay,
yeah,
I had forgotten about that was the context of how this works. Yeah.
because like after they started doing like tournaments at Gen Con, like this is just like when players start getting like recruited as playtesters, because all of the playtesting for Spin and Genesis is internal playtesting.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
There's no external playtesters, and then they start bringing on external playtesters, like Spags. I know who is the originator of King of Servers is like brought on, along with Aaron Andres and like other people.
Oh wow, I definitely missed. I think I've written all my notes down, and now I'm second guessing my choice for this. I think there's like several good options for the strongest card in Genesis. Because I went first last time, I want to hear you go first this time.
I went back and forth so much on what this card was. I think
I think I have 3 solid options, and then like a 4th that's really just an honorable mention card. But
I think my answer in the end, I was gonna say DLR for a while, but I actually switched off it. I think it's actually Project Atlas.
Oh, interesting. That Project Atlas didn't even make my top 4.
I think the Project Atlas thing is like Wayland for the first like 4 years the game was in print was terrible. Like bad.
Yeah.
And like honestly, after Order and Chaos comes out, it doesn't really get that much better.
No.
Like
it really takes until Red Sands, I think, for it to become playable.
Flashpoint and Red Sands are like Flashpoint, Red Sands, it gets Audacity, and then like I think it also got like really rehabilitated under NSG. But like when like in Flashpoint, like Atlas, like you have Hard Hitting News, which makes Argus better, and like there's a bunch of like Mausolus comes out also in that same set, and Atlas is like I think like one of like the important questions like Corpse and Netrunner have to answer is like why does scoring points besides the 7th point matter? Like, why does scoring an agenda matter? Why does one need to care about what you're doing? And like a Nisei counter on a Nisei Mark II is a great answer to that question. But Project Atlas just carved out the identity for Wayland as like, okay, this is going to be a kill faction. It has access to kill tools, and now, well, why do we care if the kill deck scores an agenda? You get to tutor your kill card, and then it was like fundamental for Titan, and it was like Audacitying out, or like in Rush Ob, like all these decks. I just feel like of these like project agendas, it's just held up over the years as like one of the best agendas in the faction.
Yeah,
I think it's like not clearly the best though. I think there is a strong argument to be made for other cards.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I think Project Vitruvius also is quite good. I think Atlas is stronger because almost because it's more important for the faction's survival. For me though, my top pick was Wizard, which which is kind of funny, especially it's like Wizard at time of release was like, why would they print this card? This thing is terrible. But like the way that Netrunner went, and I think kind of the way it was always going to have to go to some extent, was that assets were going to have to become a more interesting and more integral part of the game. And Wizard can say very easily, gain 3 credits a turn. And that's such a strong ability to have in a faction that had a lot of other strengths going for it. I think there's also like, so that was my pick for the strongest card from the Genesis cycle. But
I think that's like Wizard's great. I mean, like he wasn't really good until we got to like I would argue SanSan Cycle. Like very famously, Ibram Drop had his like 1-armed Ice Feast deck that played Faust and Wildside and like all these busted cards. But like it just turned like especially when Wizard came out, he was just bad because it was like all of the best Corp decks were playing Operations. Yeah. Like you had like Hedge Fund, and you would play like Sea Scorch potentially, or like you were Fast Advance out of the world is yours, like you're playing Biotic Labor.
I don't think it was out yet, but like Restructure, like a lot of Corp Econ packages were like, oh, I'm going to play Sure Gamble, Restructure, maybe I'll play like one Adonis I'll play like a set of Adonis campaigns, and that was going to be it. My remote was going to be Adonis campaigns, SanSan City Grids, Ashes, like it was like the way that the game worked was very different. And like when you look at like the Econ assets the Corps had, they were not anywhere close to playable. Like when you look at the math, they are just so bad. But I think from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, Wizard ended up just being one of the most important ideas ever printed. I also want to give a shout. I'm going to give some quick honor. I didn't do this for all of them, but I did this for a couple of them. Andromeda, Data Leak Reversal, and my like controversial-ish, most controversial one, I think, is probably the New Angel City Hall. Were all in the running for me.
I think indexing's got to be up above New Angeles. You don't feel like indexing's above New Angeles City Hall?
It probably should be. I think I was like trying to not put too many Shaper cards in.
I think indexing was like how the faction won.
Yeah.
Like the faction had no way to win games in the core set. Like they just had no multi-access. Like.
Yeah. I also.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your worst? What's the worst card in Genesis?
This is another. So I initially was like, oh man, this would be so hard. There's so many, and then I saw Tyrant, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's nice and easy. This is a.
Oh, I strictly disagree.
Oh, interesting. So Tyrant is a 7-cost barrier that cannot do anything in most of the printing. Most of the rules at the time, at the very least. Until it's rezzed, and then you advance it once, and now it is a 7-cost barrier with 1 end the run subroutine on it and 4 strength.
There was like this weird advanceable ice theme in Genesis Cycle, which like didn't work.
Yeah, it was like these can be advanced only while rezzed. I think the idea was they wanted you to use. I don't think we even mentioned it because like it is technically a useful. Like a lot of these were like which of these cards is actively harmful to put in my deck was like my metric for a lot of the FFG worst cards in the set, and so like this one felt the closest in this batch of cards. But I'm curious to hear what you put as your worst card here.
I don't think Tyrant's actually like the worst because like you did have Amazon Industrial Zone in the same set, which is like an easy thing for me to say. But like I just remember playing against, because we built it, Amazon Industrial Zone Tyrant, where like you advance the Tyrant and then you advance it twice. like there was a vision here. It was not a good vision, but there was a vision. I think the card that I think, like, Tyrant has game text that does something. Like, it's bad on rate, it's like bad on tempo, like it's bad on every metric, but like it does actually end the run. It like is a functional Netrunner card. I'm not sure Maresh Bodysuit does anything. Do you know what that card does?
It's prevent the first point of meat damage each turn, right?
Yes, it's a 1-credit hardware. You can have 3 of them installed. It's not unique, but it doesn't do anything because they all only prevent the first. So like, it doesn't do anything. You can't like you can have 3 of them installed. It still only prevents like, yeah, only one does anything. But like the problem is like
the kill combo at the time did 8 damage. So what does a 6 hand size do to 8 damage? It did nothing, right?
It did nothing. It didn't work against net damage. And like PE, like the only cards that dealt meat damage in the game when this card came out, it was like Scorched Earth and like I think some random other cards. There was
did Counter-Strike come out in this set? No,
Counter-Strike is Spin. It's Spin.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it was dedicated response team.
But it's just like, yeah. And like the crazy thing is like Plastic Creek gets printed in the next set, and you have Crash Space in core set, which is already like Crash Space just does stuff the Scorch Kill combo. So it's like Tyrant is really bad. But like I can imagine it doing something in a card.
Okay,
I can't imagine this card ever doing anything.
Okay, I'll ask you though. Was there ever a game like I could see a draft game where I end up against oh my goodness, what's the Grinder Wayland ID? So like
Builders of Nation.
Like you install your Maresh Bodysuit, you blank their entire ID for 1 credit and a card, so that's something. But no,
Isn't Builders of Nation like the damage unpreventable?
Is it really? Did they really tech for that card?
I don't know.
Builder of Nations.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's not
no, it's just
unpreventable.
damage. Okay, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
damage.
So we found.
I think it's true. Like 6 years later, I just think.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a pretty bad. So to me, if we're talking about cards that don't do anything, I also think like Net Police was one of them.
Net Police was very okay. So I agree with you. Net Police is terrible. Net Police does something. Like Net Police, this is my point on Tyrant. Like Tyrant is the worst rated barrier in the game. But like Merch Bodysuit, like actively stone cold has blank text. Net Police will sometimes pay for something, even though the rate is terrible, but it still has live game text. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think I agree. I think my deck is harmed more by having a Tyrant in it than my deck having a Rush Bodysuit in it. But I think your point is not unreasonable. So.
And now we're on the Creation and Control, which was the first big box expansion.
Yeah.
And so
and they really, I mean, like, it's funny because the runner side of this expansion is like basically banger after banger after banger, and then like Corp is like 2 cards maybe.
Yeah, I think that they like struggled. I think that like something definitely in the early. I also like felt this way about some of the NSG sets where like it's just easier to design runner cards.
Yeah,
like,
no,
like,
I mean
it's
it's it's one of those things where it's like having seen the inside of playtesting and having tried to make my own set, like it is way easier to say like, okay, runners, you have to have some like you have to have an output, which is I make credits, I draw cards, and I get accesses. And like that's the game. And then like the Corp side has to be, okay, how can I make an interesting puzzle for the runner inputs to go into and be challenged? And that's such a harder set of problems. So yeah.
I also think like Shaper was in this weird spot where like they were just like kind of a bad faction out of the first core set and cycle. Like Criminal was very obviously, people identified like Andromeda was just the best thing you could be doing.
Yeah.
But I think, like, for my money, the best card in Creation Control is Self-Modifying Code.
Okay, like, that is on my close list, but is not my best card in Creation and Control list.
I just think that, like, the card is, like, fundamentally been defining for Shaper for, like, the entire lifespan of the game. And, like, basically invented its whole identity as, like, what this faction is doing different than Criminal Anarch is it's doing things at paid ability speed mid-run. And, like, it was just, we already had tutors in the game. We had like Special Order, and like technically you could play Jin from core set. But like really, like Self-Modifying Code was just obviously the best thing. I think it's like basically statted and numbered perfectly. Like I would never change a single thing about that card. And it is just like somewhere between a 2 of to a 3 of in like every single Shaper list for the past like 12 years.
Yeah,
like, It's nuts.
So I completely agree with everything you said. And I think it's even funnier when I say my top pick for most powerful card is Cerebral Imaging, a card that was extremely bad for most of its lifespan, I think. But to me, I think CI has the thing of, well, part of me, this is like a little bit of my eternal bias, CI defines Eternal in a way that almost no other card in the whole format does. Because, it's like, the game for Corpse is this idea that like you will draw agendas and you will have to then, that will become a problem for you to deal with. And CI, when it functions well, just says, no, I have 2 R&Ds. They are equally difficult for the runner to interact with, and I get to play out of one of them. And I think that is like such a powerful effect, even though it was not the best. I think it was often like almost hampered because designers are like, oh, this is so unfun Netrunner that we have to make sure it doesn't get supported. But
yeah, I think it's complicated because like when that card came out, I think it was like so bad. Like it just obviously did not have a way of winning a game in Netrunner. And then in Spin Cycle, Power Shutdown comes out, and like Accelerated Diagnostics comes out, and B-Blum and like J-Dang and some of the other people are some of the first people who opened up the StimHack thread that's just like posting CI puzzles of like I don't know if, man, I don't even know if that thread's on the internet anymore. But there's this like long form thread of like CI puzzles that are like, they invented the concept of like thinking about the CI combo in terms of, I should talk about what the CI combo is because probably people, okay, so the idea of the CI combo was that your cerebral imaging and there's a deck called 7-Point CI, and the whole point of the deck was to win the game in a single turn. And the way it did that is you could play a card from Spin Cycle called Power Shutdown. That you played it as an operation. You banished. You could discard the top cards of your deck, and then the runner would have to like trash a hardware or whatever equal to
it was
less than.
It was irrelevant. The important part of the card effect was I get to trash my entire deck. Like
yeah, so you put your entire deck in your graveyard, and then you put a Jackson Howard on the board, and Jackson Howard allowed you to shuffle 3 cards from your discard pile into your deck. So now you had a pile. We call it a Jackson pile. Jackson pile was going to be like 2 biotics and another operation. Whatever, it didn't matter. And then you play Accelerated Diagnostics, which says reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can play all of the operations out of there, ignoring all the additional costs. So now, when you play your Accelerated Diagnostics, you can play like 2 biotics and like an interns, which reanimates a Jackson from the graveyard. And so like, you basically could construe these piles where the goal was to put your deck in your graveyard. You would score an efficiency committee first, which gave you extra clicks, but you could no longer advance cards. That's fine, because then you play Shipment from Kaguya, which allowed you to place advancement tokens on your last 2 agendas, and you would score 7 points in 1 turn. This was like more in the land of the theoretical than the practical, because like Andromeda was the best deck in Standard. So like you still had to deal with the fact that like Siphon not only lost you 5 credits but also 5 hand size.
Yeah, and that was like, that just killed the ID dead for a long time. Of the like, how do I get over this problem that half the time I start turn 2 with 0 credits and a 0 card max hand size, and like I just get, and like it's not just going to be turn 1, it's also going to be turn 5 and turn like 7. Like they're going to find the 3 account siphons and maybe even more, right? This was an era where like you could see 6 account siphons in the game pretty regularly.
In the set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's definitely was not that strong of an ID at the time, but like to me, on like the raw power level of the card, it does something that literally no other card in Netrunner does. I think largely for good reason.
Yeah, I think that like we will never see NSG ever print a card like this, which I think is probably for the best. I think like, yeah, I think the closest we have the CI in my mind is like the OB mutually assured destruction combo, kind of in a way where it's like it's just assembling this card combo and like it only works because of the ID, like the tutoring for the biotic, tutoring for the like the wage workers or the bass. Yeah. What is the worst card in Creation and Control?
To me, it is Tyr's Hand. And I think there's some other good arguments. Like, I
don't know what this does.
So this is hilarious. Tyr's Hand says, when the subroutine would be broke... Actually, I'll read the original text, not the errata text, which I'm... Hats off to NSG for errataing Tyr's Hand, a card I don't think has ever left a binder, but a single copy. Because it says, if the runner is about to break a subroutine on a piece of Bioroid ice, protecting the server, you can res this card. So you can kind of do an ambush trap, and then trash prevent a subroutine from being broken on a piece of Bioroid ice, protecting this server. The thing.
Oh, okay. So the idea is that like your runner clicks through a Bioroid,
and then you get to say nah, and they don't get to break that. The problem being that, by and large, I'm going to install a card that I res for a credit, and the runner then spends 1 credit to completely negate, because the runner can just break that subroutine a second time. There's nothing preventing them from just saying, okay, I'll pay 1 more credit to break again. So like the fantasy of this card is this whole like click thing and all this stuff, but it's like it's just one of those things where it's like I don't think it ever actually makes a change to a game state. I think there are other good candidates in this box, but to me that was the one where it's just like this card can basically never do anything.
Okay, my worst card is Server Diagnostics.
Yeah, that was definitely on my list.
This card is terrible. It's a 3 res, 2 to trash, neutral asset. You gain 2 credits when your turn begins, and then you trash server diagnostics when you install a piece of ice. So like, it's just like, I remember when this card. I remember looking at this card when I was like 15 and being like, "This is bad." Like every piece of analysis, I just like. I think it's Tears.
It's also an interesting thing. It's like you could almost imagine a world where you're like, "Oh, I'm playing a deck with like 4 ice in it. Like maybe this card is fine." Of course, it needs to trigger twice to even make a credit back. The credit back you spent installing it. But it's also like at the time. Like, the average Corp deck, I think, ran 17 pieces of ice or something silly. Like, not silly, but just, like, that
the meta was
like
18 ice.
Yeah, it was, like, 15 ice was an ice-light deck at the time. And so it's like, oh, I'm just not going to change my board state to try and make 2 credits a turn. Like, it was just, yeah, it was very bad.
These cards might be equally bad. That's actually, like, I was actually, like, thinking about... I mean, like, the Tears Hand thing is, like...
The other thing is, like, you have to get the runner to opt into running this, right? That was my other thing with Tears Hand, but...
I mean, that's fine. Like, you can, like, put, like... I think you probably want, like, a 2... Like, I think the big thing you... Like, the big blow is they, like... The runner clicks through a Fairchild 3.0.
Yeah.
And then you get to make them do again. And like...
Yeah, Tears Hand with the 3.0 Byroids definitely gets a little bit better. And I guess there are Heimdall 2.0 and Ichi and Victor 2.0. But also those dice aren't even that...
They're bad dice.
They're not even that good. Like, they're pretty bad. So, like, it really takes, like, literally one of the best dice ever printed to make this even a card that has a situational use, right?
Yeah.
So I do want to give a quick shout out to two HP cards that do almost the same thing and are both bad, but I think technically do enough in Howler and Mind Layer, both being.
Howler's good. Wait, whoa! Why are we hitting on Howler? Is a good card. Howler does something.
Install and res a piece of ice from HQ Archives. Install it. Show the runner what it is, and then de-res it before they encounter it.
No, but Howler was good because Parasite was really good.
Okay, that's fair.
You actually did play Howler because you wanted to get your ice back that was parasited. Like, unironically, I played Howler.
I will admit to have missing that meta development.
Now we're on to Spin Cycle, which is like... I think pretty noticeably a step up in power from
Genesis. It was like, oh man, there's so many good choices, and then I was like, oh wait, I actually think there's only one choice here.
Did we both pick Jackson Howard?
Yeah, we both picked Jackson Howard.
Okay. It's just Corpse were not good in the first chunk of Netrunner history.
Yeah.
Like, fundamentally. Yeah. And also, like, this is also, okay, also, like, a piece of context, for Spin and for Genesis Cycle and Creation Control, you can just play Noise. Like, Noise exists in the core set, which, like, randomly milled cards off the top. So, like, you would play, like, core set plus games and just be like, I guess I lose because, like, Noise milled my, like, 3-point priority requisition. And
yeah. It's also, it's like, in much of the era, you're forced to play some number of priority requisitions. Like, there was basically not agenda suites that didn't include a pri-rec or two in a lot of cases.
And I think that, like, at the time that Jackson came out, it was basically, like, a patch almost for the game, it felt like, where it was, like, it was just, like, so pushed. Like, so obviously pushed. And that was 3 to trash, 0 to res. You could at paid ability speed shuffle 3 cards in, and then also, like, click to draw 2, which was just good.
Yeah.
It just became, like, in the same way that Spin Doctor is, like, usually a 3 of in every deck. Like, Jackson just became a 3 of in every.
Yeah. I think it's like it's very easy to look at it now and be like, oh, like, Spin Doctor, like, draws 2 with more tempo, so, like, clearly it must be stronger than Jackson Howard. And I think in practice, the one extra card you get to shuffle back makes a huge difference in how powerful. And the repeated draw and increased trash cost both, I think, are a little bit more powerful than they kind of first appear.
I think 3 trash cost is a big deal. I also think, like, in asset decks, being able to, like, get a Jackson on the board and, like, click it twice to reload, or, like, click it twice and then install 2 cards, which is, like, really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the worst card in Spin Cycle is Leverage.
Oh, interesting. I did not. Am I forgetting what Leverage was? Oh my goodness.
Leverage is a 1-cost criminal event that says play only.
Oh, okay. This is okay. Yeah, this is worse than the card I had as my worst.
prevent all damage until the beginning of your next turn, unless the corp takes too bad publicity. Like this card. Okay, so there's another card in the set. Like one of the sub themes of Spin was like bad pub. Like this was supposed to be the bad pub set. And that means that, like, not only did they have ways for the corp to remove bad pub, but also runner could give bad pub. And, like, there's a Kentucky card called Saving Face, which I think is also terrible. But, Saving Face allows you to sacrifice, like, a sysop or an executive to remove too bad publicity. And that card's terrible. But at least you get to control... It does something, and you get to control when it happens. Leverage requires an HQ run, and then, like, if the runner is holding, if the corporation's holding Sea Source Double Scorched Earth, they're just gonna take too bad pub. Like,
yeah. And if they're not, they're gonna say, okay, I guess I'm not gonna kill you next turn. I wasn't going to anyway. Like, yeah. Yeah,
it's just like the most nonsense, like, how does this make any sense? Like, it's like one of those cards where the text is on the card, and then you play it, and you're like, nobody thought through the actual, like, matrix of the decisions that would happen on this card.
Yeah.
What do you think the worst card is?
So I had written down Isabel McGuire.
What the fuck is Isabel McGuire?
It is a 0 cost to 0 res 3 trash HB asset executive unique. Click, add one of your installed cards to HQ.
She's the golfing lady.
Yes, she's the golfing lady. And, like, there's a slim argument you could make that she maybe had some synergies with, like, the next ice that was coming out in the future sets. But, like, the on-res effects, like, they didn't exist in this era of Netrunner. So, like, there was just never a time where you're like, I want to install a card, get its effect, and then spend a click to return this back to my hand.
Yeah.
I agree that is it is not as bad as Leverage. I'm going to also give quick shout outs to Dyson Fractal Generator and Alpha, I think, as both being
Alpha's bad. Alpha's so bad.
As being extremely bad.
Do you think that Isabel McGuire's name is a reference to Lizzie McGuire?
I don't think so. But
Lizzie McGuire is the only other McGuire I know in my whole life. Okay, next up we have
Honor and Profit. I also felt like this one was pretty easy. I think this box is not that high power level, like, of all of them. Like, the Shinteiki got a lot of, like, average power, but there's, I think, a pretty... For me, the Future Perfect was just the standout best card in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, Future Perfect was just, like... Up until this point, agendas were, like, bad, pretty much. Like, NAPD Contract was a really good pickup. But, like, one of the reasons NBN Astrobiotics was just so nuts was because, like, it just had the best agendas. Like, it had Beal, Astro, Breaking News,
and then NAPD Contract. Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, Glacier had, like, sort of kind of existed, but, like, now you had... This was, like, the first time you could play, like, Replicating Perfection with, like, the Future Perfect. It just was, like, answered one of these questions, which is, like, how do you deal with the fact that, like, sometimes you just lose the 3-pointer on central servers? And then I think also, like, it just became the obvious best agenda for any Techie deck that, like, basically wasn't playing Obokata Protocol. Because, like, if you were Glacier, you wanted this effect. If you were, like, Combo, you wanted this. Like, if you were IG, you just wanted Feature Perfect because you could just put them in archives.
Yeah.
People would have to play the side game. And then, like you just had all these, like, special tools. I think, like, Feature Perfect was just so strong.
Yeah. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Pup. I think an ice that looks a little bit silly today, but I think it was quite good, quite relevant.
Pup was good! Pup was good! Pup
was really good.
Yeah, Pup was nuts.
For me, my worst card in the set was also a Jinteki card.
Okay, well, let me guess. Was it Tenma Line?
Yes, it was.
Tenma Line is not that bad.
10 malign is so bad.
Okay, I know my card's worse than your card. Plan B.
No, I push. I don't think Plan B is worse.
Plan B, you have to, dude. You have to have advancement counters on the Plan B equal to the fucking advancement requirement of the agenda, not the agenda points. Like, if you want to swap out a 2/4, the runner has to access the Plan B. While there's 4 advancement counters on the Plan B.
I genuinely. Plan B, you can put in a Yomi deck, and you can do my, is this a Cerebral, is this a Clearinghouse, is this a Plan B, and you just have ways to win that you shouldn't. You install it, for 10 malign to be useful, I need to have installed 2 pieces of ice, and have decided that I've fucked them up enough that I need to include a specific card to swap them around.
Okay, consider this. We agree that the swappability on Thimble Rig is good. Ask the question.
We won't go into a lawyer debate. We can do that on another recording. But
Fort Trash is just so good.
Okay, you act as a 10 malign. When do you even consider trashing this card? Like, what board state?
I just want to say, I would like to read the first line of the top review on Netrunner DB, which says, a criminally undervalued card. 10 malign can do a ton of work for very little investment. Now, honestly, consider just how often you have to play ice in suboptimal positions.
Okay, I'm okay. Now I'm gonna have to do the like. How many published decks have 10 malign in it?
Not many. Not many.
Okay, it looks like I see 3 pages of decks that have it published.
How many decks are Plan B?
Well, that's the next question. Okay, 10 plus pages have Plan B in them.
That's crazy. That's not what is wrong with people. Oh man. Okay.
All right.
Next we have Lunar Cycle.
Yeah. I'll have you go first because you have a serious answer and I have a bit of a meme answer for this one.
I will say that okay, so an interesting thing about this old release model was that the Lunar Cycle is 6 data packs. Each pack had 20 cards, and so what that meant was that depending on when the cards came out, right now we're looking at Lunar Cycle overall, but that's not how the set came out over a 6-month period. You got cards, so you had if this was really messed up, if you had Smoke was always funny because the stealth cards are throughout the data packs, but Smoke in is only in one of them. So it's packages didn't make sense. I just remember NBN, the World of Zero's Fast Events was considered a really good deck heading into the Lunar Cycle. And I remember in the game store opening the data pack and we didn't know what was going to be in the data packs. This was a different time in the internet, right?
Yeah.
No
2014 is a whole it was people people will sometimes go on about the card fans that NSG put out card fans. It's that's fun. I'm glad people at NSG do them, but people card fans were often the only cards you saw until you got the first data pack from that cycle, and someone would open it up on that first day and those cards would be shared, and then you would wait a month. And then you would get your next 15 cards, next 20 cards.
I have no idea. There was no you would there would be promo articles, but they rarely had card text, and so you just were you had no idea what was going to happen. And I remember standing around. It was a Thursday, the first day after the thing had come out. We're opening it in the basement of this game store in Winnipeg, and we all flipped to Near Earth Hub is near the start of the pack, and I just remember us all going what the fuck? And I think that probably my vote is actually so I thought about this. I'm is it Near Earth Hub? Near Earth Hub was also really good in the NSG era.
Yeah. I
think my actual answer is IG.
Okay. I think those are both good answers.
I think IG is just so kind of fundamentally fucked up. Shock was in Genesis Cycle, Spin Cycle.
Yeah.
But like IG was bad for like a really long period of time. Like it took like a bunch more cards. Like Bioethics. Like it really only got good in Mumbad when you could play like Museum of History and like Bioethics and Mumbad City Hall and all these cards. But like I think IG was just like one of those IDs that was like there were basically no fair IG decks. Like if the ID worked and did its thing, it just like created these and then hostile architecture also came out, and so like.
Yeah, actually, I think that
kind
that's a better summation of why I think CI was like so strong. It's like this deck can only do unfair things if it's strong, right? This deck cannot be fair and strong. I think both.
What do you think the best card from Lunar is?
So I will say, like at the time, if you had said, "Hey Jeff, what's the best card in Lunar?" I would have said hands down NEH, right? Like I want to be a creative deck builder. Like I want to show how cool and unique I am, and I would show up to my local GNKs and get smashed by NEH over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I have to put a Shaper card in at some point, and I went with Astrolabe, which is such a meme choice. But I don't like. I think there is Astrolabe is like, especially like it's like at Lunar it was solid, and then it just got better and better and better as the game evolved, and like as we evolve towards fewer and fewer single remote decks. I think Astrolabe, like to me, is the first playable in faction console for Shaper, which is a huge deal. They had like Toolbox and Dinosaurus. And I don't think they even got a console.
There's no console creation control.
Yeah. So like Astrolabe was a one cost.
Oh wait, that's not true. Wait, whoa. Well, there is a console creation.
Isn't it Dinosaurus? Or no?
No, Dinosaurus is Spin Cycle.
What is the console in creation control? Oh, Monolith, right?
The 18 credit console.
Yeah. Like Astrolabe is the like, okay, maybe this idea that all Shaper consoles are these massive honking like extremely narrow cards isn't going to be a thing, and instead we get this one cost card to support the Seer is like I think why this is like a one cost console. Like it just ends up being like Astrolabe saw play up until the day it rotated, basically. And like I think it's just it was sometimes a +1 MU draw like 5 card. Like that was not abnormal for it to be. I think it's a little bit of a stretch over NEH and IG, but I wanted to give a little shout out to runners for that set.
What do you think the worst card in? Oh, actually, no. I go first. I think the worst card in NEH. The worst card in NEH. The worst card in Luna is what's this card called? Primary transmission dish.
Oh, I looked at that and I was like, didn't this see play in the like Aryabhata all traces like CTM list?
That's such a deep cut of the deck list to remember. Yeah, because I think he used to run improved tracers.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a deep cut.
My answer was I had self-destruct as my answer from the Lunar Cycle.
That's a good answer. Self-destruct is pretty awful.
Yeah.
There's so many neutral cards in this set.
Yeah, it's because they did the whole Grail Ice, which is like a whole chunk, right? That ends up but also like it's one of those and both the Grail Ice and then the fragments. So that adds like 7 neutral cards to the set. Just on its own.
Sure.
Actually, it adds.
I do think
more, but yeah.
I do think also like Bad Times is also like a pretty reasonable pick.
This was what we were chatting yesterday. I was like, oh man, there's gonna be like so many throwback stories because like Bad Times just because it's a current, I think can't ever be the worst card in the set, basically. But Bad Times is pretty darn close. And I remember also, like, this was one of the freak out cards from the card fan reveal, if I remember correctly on this one. People were Bad Times and I think actually maybe I think more of Will-O-the-Wisp as the card that, like, everyone freaked out about.
I remember that. I remember people were like, Will-O-the-Wisp is going to be busted. Like, man.
It's so funny to look at. But yeah, self-destruct is like a trash out cards in the root or protecting the server, and then trace X, where it's the number of cards you trashed. And then if you do all of that, you can do 3 net damage. So it's
bad.
Yeah, it's very rough. And it's a 0 trash cost. The runner does just get to like run through it on RD. An honorable shout out to Port Anson Grid, a card I did not remember existed.
That card is terrible also. Jesus Christ.
There are so many of these region Jinteki upgrades like make my honorable mention list where I'm like, I guess in theory these could do something, but so on to Order and Chaos. I think it's my turn to go first on this one. So I think there's a couple, like there's actually several good options, but I went with Eater. I think kind of similarly to the CI and IG logic to me, it was like this card enabled a bunch of unfair things, and Eater also was like, to me, Eater was the like, oh, we're going to play in an account siphon meta forever now.
I guess like, oh man, I guess like it's complicated for me because like I think one of the best Eater decks, eventually Apocalypse will come out.
Yeah. And
Eater Apocalypse was just like really strong. Like it was like, oh, here's a card that like can just make you get accesses and everything. I think like my issue with Eater is like this is like it's like a fundamental question, right? Like is Eater busted or is Apocalypse busted?
That's fair.
Because like Apocalypse decks was still good after Eater rotated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I went with Max.
Yeah, that's the other really. I think one of the reasons I struggled to put Max on the list is like, well, Val is also right there, and they were both really strong, but for like very different reasons.
I think that the reason why I thought Max was better was because I think Max's ID ability.
I think Max is the stronger ID ability.
Yeah, like it just turned out that like cards like Same Old Thing and Levy just meant that like you could put cards like Siphon or like the Tag Me package or like all these things, and then like later on in life when it was up in the NSG land, like it just turned out that like, oh, Max is really good if like you play 60 cards and every card in your deck is just good. Yeah. And then like you have labor rights, like you're playing from like it just, I think, and I came very close to putting I've Had Worse also.
Yeah, I've Had Worse. It was my first honorable mention here.
Yeah, I've Had Worse like just changed kind of how it was like so funny that like this was the Wayland big box, and then they also put a card in it that just like stomped Wayland into the dirt. Where like now, if they had runner had 5 cards in hand, you play the Scorched Earth, they would draw 3 cards. And they'd be at 4 cards, and the second Scorched Earth wouldn't kill them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what? Like, it was just like, fundamentally, it was just like, oh, this is like, because like, you used to have Plasticate on the board, you know when you could go for it versus when you couldn't go for it. Now it was just like, you would never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many bad Wayland. Like, the crazy thing about this set always to me is...
Yeah. This Wayland set is so bad. Like...
Yeah. They were like, we're gonna make the Advanceable Ice thing work, and then like it just didn't. You know what I mean? Like it just was not good.
Yeah.
Now we're on the SanSan Cycle, which is
we didn't actually name the worst card.
Oh, we got worse. We got worse. Oh man, there's so many bad cards. My worst card in Order and Chaos is Technician Team.
Okay, I think that's a pretty reasonable one. So reasonable I have to go and look it up. Oh yeah, that's pretty bad.
Dedicated technician team. It's just like it's a 1 cost, 1 trash. You neutral upgrade, 2 recurring credits. Use these credits to install Ice Protecting the server.
And they had made the root in the previous cycle, right? Which is like
yeah.
Basically a better version of this card, and the root was already bad. Maybe not strictly better, but yeah.
I do think like the issue I have with like this card, like one of my takeaways from actually doing this exercise was like, man, there's so many bad neutral corp cards in these first cycles. Like it's stunning to me how bad these neutral corp cards are.
Yeah.
What is the worst card from
I put down Constellation Protocol, which is when your turn begins, you may move an advancement token from a piece of ice to another installed piece of ice that can be advanced.
No, this card's good. Okay. If you want, then I feel like I actually shouldn't say this because I'm like doxing my NetRunnerDB account. But if you go to my NetRunnerDB account and you want to see the first deck list I've ever published. It's a because we built it deck list. Oh, is it not here anymore? Oh, it's on the first page. Oh yeah, constructing cyberspace version 1.0. This is a 2015 deck list. I probably wrote this up when I was like 16 or 17, and this played 2 constellation protocols because the whole point of the deck was you would advance your nebulas, Orions, or wormholes manually because we built it, and then you would move them onto to a Hadrian's or a firewall for commercialization, and then the way you won is you never installed agenda on a remote. Your first goal was to trick of light out of Glen Station, and then you would fast track for a government takeover and host it on the Glen Station, and then you would reclamation order to get the trick of lights back, and then you would double trick of light a Project Atlas to get a counter so that you could count Atlas counter for the second reclamation order, so you could get all the trick of lights back.
This is somehow more convoluted than my Mumbad Construction Company combo deck that used cast and call. Like,
yeah, and so you needed the Constellation Protocol because you weren't using the remote for anything.
So I remember literally thinking, for Constellation Protocol to make any sense, I need to have advanceable ice and have no use for my remote server.
I built that deck. It says, how many likes does that deck has? This is 44 likes, 34 favorites, and 7
that's
comments.
2015 era likes. That's like 2 in today's era. Like,
man.
That's
it
really
is pretty
funny.
bad though. I agree. It's pretty bad.
All right.
Next, SanSan Cycle.
SanSan, this was a hard one for me.
Oh, I feel like I snapped it off immediately. I felt very comfortable about my pick.
Okay. Fire away.
What did you pick?
I
you
picked
went first. I went first last time.
I went first on Order and Chaos, but that's fine. I'm going to play the type. I'm going to say Haley was the strongest card in this set.
That's wrong. That's so wrong. It's Faust. It's Faust. It has to be Faust.
Okay. To make a similar argument to what you made earlier, Faust was legal for a period in NSG Netrunner and was unplayed. Like, did it come back in the? It didn't come back in the Salvage Memories, but it was still just legal and unplayed for quite a while. Faust was really impactful at the time, but I think that was actually a Parasite David Faust as a trio problem.
Sure, like, let me think about that. I mean, I do think you're right. I think that, like, Faust, it's a complicated, right? Because, like, Faust just sort of warped ice design for, like, 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, all the ice, like, one of the reasons Faust was bad eventually was because, like, all the ice was against Faust because Faust existed.
Yeah.
Like,
every single piece of ice had an odd strength and 2 to 3 subroutines, because that was the only way you could make Faust meaningfully difficult to break with. So, like, yeah, the game was designed against Faust in many ways.
I feel like is it Haley? Is it Haley if not Faust? Maybe that is true.
I think there's at least like SanSan is a cracked cycle. I had 3 other options that I thought were all plausibly better than Haley. Hyperdriver, but I think that's a little more combo-y, whereas Haley is just kind of like it's quite universally strong. But Hyperdriver is pretty nuts. DDoS is pretty nuts.
Oh, I didn't think about. I was gonna say Turntable's up there for me.
Oh, that's Turntable. Isn't Turntable Chaos?
No, Turntable. It's Vigil. The console and.
Oh,
Chaos
you're right.
Vigil.
It's Vigil. Yeah, you're right. And
no,
then
I think Turntable's messed up. Sorry.
Turntable messed up. I also had Team Sponsorship on my list as like a quietly messed up.
I think I think the problem with SanSan is that, like, there are very few cards that are like, oh, this is obviously the most broken thing in the game.
Yeah. It's like
there's a bunch of cards that are good. Like, really
it's like Geist didn't actually make my list because he's so card pool dependent, but like is also one of the strongest run righties ever printed for like a certain definition of strong. Like, there's a lot of like cards that are like conditionally quite strong, but not like clear knockouts. Like, this is absurd. I think Faust probably has the best argument for being individually the most absurd. But like for me, it's like Haley in the same way that like Wizard and Andromeda define those factions. It did not take that long for people to figure out how to build Haley decks, and she just was Shaper for a long
Yeah.
time.
My worst card is Rolodex.
That was my runner up for worst card.
I don't. So like, I'm excited because I feel like I spent a lot of time looking at this. I was like, Rolodex doesn't do anything. It's crazy.
It really doesn't do anything. So it probably is the worst card. But I want to shout out Tyson Observatory for being in the.
Oh, that's good. What are you talking about?
For being I really need this hardware, so let me install this resource, spend 2 clicks to look for that hardware, and then I get to have the opportunity to spend a 4th click to go and put that hardware in play.
I just know there was like a meta relevant deck that played a 1 of Tyson Observatory.
No shot.
Yes,
I don't.
It was
that.
it was Security Nexus Shaper because you wanted the Tyson Observatory to either get your Security Nexus or your Replicator or your Rabbit Hole.
Okay, I'm gonna do. I don't see anything like that. Let me see. Actually, let me add at least one of those because I'm pretty sure you just in all of those lists you just played a full play set of the, or maybe not a full play set, but you at least played 2 of. Why am I feeling Sony's console?
You played Bazaar. You played Bazaar.
Sure, I could see playing Bazaar had its own whole life, right? When the most popular decks that show up with like Tyson Observatory is like the biggest runner TIA version and
No, that's not good.
Frankfurt 30 and I found a use for Record Reconstructor. So like I'm not yet convinced that
people. No, I think you're right. I think it might be Tyson Observatory.
I mean, yeah, it's like that said, like Rolodex is a card that actually doesn't do anything. So like it's I think a much more fair worst card.
Not only does it not do anything, it also has a downside. Like it also doesn't do anything.
There's a world where I could see like someone going like, oh, I know that if Criminal had like a spec work for resources, I could see some people finding ways to play Rolodex for value, where you like arrange your top 3 the right way and then spec work duplicates that you don't need or something. Like I think that's probably the vision of the card.
That's the vision of the card is like it doesn't make any sense. What do you mean?
Honestly, it should have like a trash can effect on it or something, right? And then it would make sense. But
you would expect because Geist is in the set.
No, as much as I had fun memeing on Tyson Observatory, yes, I look at this again. Rolodex is the worst one for sure. Okay. I'm also going to do a quick shout out for one of the what's going to be a theme for some of my worst cards. Test Ground. Their attempt to make advanceable HB traps that like don't do anything.
Boy. Bad card. Now we're on to Data and Destiny.
Yeah.
This was like such a sick set. I had so much fun looking through this set again. I just forgot how much bangers.
It's funny.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just think it's funny, like how many of these, like this is just like very obviously the strongest big box in my opinion. Like,
it's
all of these
very
cards saw. I feel like all of these cards saw play at some point.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding a worst card in this set.
Yeah, I agree 100%. My vote for best card is Global Food Initiative.
Yeah, that was mine too.
Which is it's like it's just like it's like Jackson Howard in a way where it's like it felt like every like 2 to 3 years they had to print a corp card that was just like, okay, we know every corp's gonna play this, but we need to patch corp side.
Yeah.
And I feel like Global Food Initiative was that card. Like it was just super. It was just so good. Like it went in the best corp deck. It made Food Coach just like one of the best decks in the game.
Yeah, and like it was just like a staple of basically most. I'm gonna say like decks that had scoring as part of their game plan for its entire lifespan. Like you would consider it was just the best 5/3 you could run, and decreasing your agenda density was a very valuable thing you could do. So it was just like it's funny. It's like this is a pack that has 24/7 News Cycle, like one of the most uninteresting interactive like 3 card combo kills. But I think GFI is actually the stronger card in that setup.
Yeah. What's the worst card in Data and Destiny, Jeff?
So I think it's global sec security clearance.
Oh, I kind of disagree. I mean, I think this is like actually just good and sunny.
No, it's not
Like,
just good. It's like, why would you spend the click to do this? Like
because you don't. What do you mean? Because like, what if there's 2 ice in R&D?
I guess global security to me, it's like this is not doing anything to meaningfully actually help you win the game relative to just having 2 extra credits in the click. Like,
that's crazy. What are you talking about? Like, if R&D costs 7, let's just imagine R&D costs 7 credits to run.
Yeah. Why am I running R&D?
You're not running R&D. You're looking at the top with fucking access to global security clearance.
but I guess my perspective, like, if I'm trying to win the game as the runner, if R&D costs 7, the only way I lose is if the remote also costs 7. Oh wait, what's this? My console security nexus, so that every remote costs me nothing. Like, my remotes don't cost me anything for most reasonable corp decks. Like, that to me is the problem. It's not that this card can't do anything. It's just in practice, it doesn't do anything. So I'd be better off including basically any other card over this.
Well, I think rebranding team is just worse.
No. Did you not play? Okay, no. You scored rebranding team, and then there was the card that let you play all all advertisements from archives or something. Like, this was like
Ad Blitz.
Yeah, like, that was, look, to me that's a fantasy. I'm gonna let you live that fantasy, and like, it's not gonna be good, but I don't think it's active. Like, I don't know. To me, it did not even. To me, because I knew that combo, I was like, oh, that's not even in my list of the top 3.
I just feel like okay, ad blitzing, like scoring a 2/4 agenda and then ad blitzing all your assets out to do who can say, that's just a reasonable fantasy. But imagining that global sec clearance lets you look at the top of R&D and see an agenda, that's conjecture. That's impossible. Like, what are you that's
yeah. I never remember seeing someone install this card against me and going, oh man, I'm shaking in my boots. Like,
well, no, I'm not saying it's good. Like, let's be clear. I'm not saying it's good. I just think that, like,
yeah. Okay,
I just think it's worse than rebranding too.
My backup is Apex. I actually think Apex is more or less a negative as an ID ability. I think the cards are pretty cool, but the ID is pretty bad.
Apex might. I actually might say Apex might actually just be. Apex might just be worse than global sec security clearance.
Yeah.
Apex might just be the worst card in the set.
Yeah, it's really sad. I think it's such a cool fantasy, but like, the card is just bad.
I think also like Rutherford Grid is like pretty close.
I did. What is Rutherford Grid? Oh, I think it's pretty bad. The like 0-4 made me be like, maybe.
It takes up a region slot. I think that's the problem.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good point. Well, but what regions were we playing in NBN? In your like
SanSan City Grid, you know, that little
that little gem, yeah. In our, when we can also be playing Astrosphere Pilot Program, you're right. Yeah. I also like Windfall. To me, is a funny, really bad card because it shuffles your deck first, so you can't even set it up, and it's like, like, most runner decks are like, oh, everything costs between 0 and 3. Or I'm trying to make my Windfall deck work, so my entire deck is bad because I can't put any low hits. So it was just a funny one to me. But
yeah, cool. Next up is Mumbad. Cycle.
Yeah, this one was very funny because I'm like, oh, I don't even need to look at the corp cards for the worst because I already know the runner card worst was so screamingly obvious to me. The corp side best, I think, was interesting. I ended up on Mumbad City Hall as the strongest.
As the best card.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that's true. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think there's some other good ones. To me, like, it's weird because it's like a tutoring card is hard to ever call the strongest card because it's clearly context dependent. Yeah. But in practice, the things it could get, like, even if you take out one of them, the card is still really good. It's like you really start taking out a bunch of these before I feel like the card stops being, like, a thing that you start really slamming. But I think there's I would guess that yours might be Museum of History.
I think Museum of History. I mean, I think it's just like okay. So for those who are listening, this card is currently errata to be unique. It was not unique originally, and like it was just like so clearly disgusting. Like there have been some cards in Netrunner history that have like broken, like basically ripped up the fundamental fabric of how the game works. And the corp is always one turn closer to decking. It's just like one of those things that's really dangerous whenever we get close to violating those rules. And the fact that museum just meant games could literally go on forever. Like there was no stopping point because you could have 3 museums res and put 3 cards from archives into R&D, and you could just have games that go on forever. Never mind the fact that like we played timed tournament rounds, but just like it messed up the economy of the game, the times of the games. Like, it was also just, like, a lot of shuffling because it was just, like, it was a bit of a disaster of a card. And I think even once it got eroded to be unique, it was still wildly good. And it was also just, like, one of the defining cards of, like, it meant that you couldn't just throw money at the asset problem in the Mumbad era. Because you could crash a Bankers or a Sensi, but you had to do it X number of times. And then also, like, I don't know. I just remember, like, it was good in IG, it was good in CTM, it was good in Gagarin, like, it was just, like, just a mess.
It's like Museum of History, I think, defined how people played, like, it defines how I remember the era. To me, I was just like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's, the argument for me, it was that, like, oh, yeah, Mumbad City Hall tutored it. It also tutored Jeeves. It tutored Bioethics. It tutored, like, it got
Mumbad
all of
Temple.
these cards. Or actually, I guess it didn't get Bioethics, excuse me, but it did get Mumbad Temple. It did get Jeeves. It got so many of these effects, and it had some various busted interactions where you could be like, oh, is the top card in my deck good? Okay, let me play the thing that draw. Like it had a bunch of weird rules and weird things you could do with it.
It was. What was it called? The big actually busted interaction was it let you get consulting visit.
Yeah,
it meant that. And you basically was pay 2 clicks and 2 credits, play any operation out of your deck, which was just like really messed up. I mean, I think also like you just had these lines where you go like Mumbad City Hall to go get a Mumbad Temple, and then click it again to go get like a museum or like some other alliance card, and now you can use the Mumbad credit to res like another Mumbad Temple, and so like. In one turn, you opened with just the Mumbad City Hall in your hand, and now you've gotten 9 credits worth of assets on the table. Yeah. And, it was just, like, really insane. Maybe that is stronger. What's your worst card?
So, to me, this was obvious. So, I actually want to hear what yours is first, because you seemed like you had struggled on this one.
I struggled. I actually went back and forth. I think for me, it's Chatterjee University.
Okay. I need to go look up that card because to me that's... No, okay. I'm going to... if it's the card I'm thinking of... Okay, yeah.
This is the one...
Yes, this is not... This to me is not the worst card. It is a bad card. It is a very, very bad card. There's a Jinxer in my meta who will go unnamed who has played this card quite a bit. And, like, it was bad. It was never good. But they had some fun with it. For me, it is Rumojin Reliant 550 BMI.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah, because this card says, for those at home, this is a hardware consumer grade 1 cost, prevent up to X core or net damage. Trash cards on the top of your stack equal to the amount of damage prevented. X is equal to the number of other installed copies of this card.
It was bad. So I think like the noble path is also like probably. I think this is probably worse than the noble path, but like they're both.
Yeah.
There was this like weird like
the noble path like I mean, the noble path feels like Nat support printed like 5 years too early or something, right? Like, no, it's the noble path is bad, but Rojan Reliant is like I have to install this one-cost hardware, find another copy of it, install another one of these, and now, for having paid 2 credits, installed 2 cards, I can prevent 1 damage, but I still have to mill another card. So I've taken 3 damage and 2 credits to prevent a point of damage. It was just like so clearly didn't do it. Like it is one of those, to me, actively hurt your deck to include.
I do think that this Mumbad Cycle was really when we started seeing them experiment with new mechanics a lot.
Yeah.
Like we had Consumer Grid and Alliance, and I think like a lot and Politicals. I think a lot of them didn't land.
I think in practice, all 3 of those had huge issues for entirely different reasons.
Yeah. Okay, next we're on to Flashpoint.
Yeah. Oh wow. I did come up with my answer. I was like, wait, why do my answer isn't here? But yeah, it is.
So what is the strongest card in Flashpoint, Jeff?
So I think it's Rumor Mill. I think there's there's at least 4 other really good options. But Rumor Mill, to me, this is maybe a little biased from playing some Eternal lately, but Rumor Mill is such a big 90% of core strategies just go in the bin when Rumor Mill goes into play. And if your runner is set up well, it's you stop a lot of scoring strategies, you stop a lot of like asset-y board strategies, you stop most kill strategies. Like it was such a big no stop, we're not doing it. We're not playing. You're going to play my version of Netrunner in a pretty big way.
I do remember that like this set when it was coming out in data packs, you would just like get a data pack, and then it would just be like, what's the most fucked up thing?
Yeah.
In this data pack, and then
did the first if I remember correctly, the first data pack had Temujin?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I also CTM was in this. CTM was on.
Oh, actually, I guess it's the second one. It looks like, but yeah.
CTM was in this set.
Yeah.
And like this set, the Worlds took place, but like basically this the first half of the set came out, and then Worlds happened, and then the second half of the set came out. But Aaron Moran was in the back half, and so they were like, "Oh, CTM is fine. Like we printed Aaron," and that Worlds 2016 didn't have Aaron in it because like it took place in the middle of the Flashpoint cycle.
Yeah.
I think my strongest card is Cipher.
Yeah, I think that's the other. That to me, that was the like closest one.
It is just like it kind of reminds me of Museum in a way where like it is fundamentally warping to like how the game is played. It is like not only is it good for the parasite interaction, it's just like good math. Like economically, like being able it annihilates any high cost ice. It gives +2 MU for some reason. Like being able to use Amakua on it was just like really messed up. Like you had like all these AI breakers which were bad breakers which were predicate the idea around that like getting the 0 like boosting strength was expensive, and yeah, it just like kind of annihilated every serious ice based strategy from the game while it was like popular.
Yeah, no, I think Cipher was the like probably to me the other card that I felt like was closest.
My worst card from Flashpoint was Crisis Management.
Oh shoot! I have to look what that does again.
It's bad. It's so bad.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It says if the runner is tagged, Crisis Management gains when your turn begins do one meat damage.
I did skip over that one. For me, I went with one of my classic fallbacks is a Jinteki upgrade region, Ninhongai Grid, which is a 1-cost 5 trash upgrade region. Whenever the runner makes a successful run on the server, if they do not have at least 2 cards in the grip and 6 credits, you may look at the top 5 cards of R&D and swap one of those cards to HQ.
Okay, I think this card's actually good. Because like basically you put this in R&D, and then if the runner accesses R&D while they have 6 credits or less, you basically get to decide.
Wait, am I reading this backward? Wait, hold on. It's fewer than 6, or few. Okay, wait. I will say, this is one of those cases where the FFG wording to me is so much. I was reading the NSG text when looking at this. I could not tell. I thought it had to be you have to be below 6 credits and below 2 or fewer cards in hand. Whereas like when I actually look at it, It's either
Wait a
fewer than
second.
6
What is
credits.
NSG text? What is NSG text? If they do not have at least 2 cards in the grip and 6 credits. If they do
It's
not
like-
have at least 2 cards in the grip and
Yeah,
6 credits.
I think logically it's the same thing, but I will be honest, it reads way
This is
less
insane.
clearly. Yeah.
This is insane, errata. Why does it have to be errata? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. If they have at least 2 cards in the grip, and 6 credits, I actually, my brain is cooking. I don't understand what this means.
This errata is cooked. Okay, having read this again, I will say though, fewer than 6 or fewer than 2 cards in the grip still feels like a lot of conditions, so that I can do a little sneaky swap of 1 card, like.
You get to make sure R&D's safe, and it's 5 to trash.
But only in the situation where the runner is running with no money in a format with Temujin, right? Like, I don't know.
Sure, but this is better than scoring a 1-3 that doesn't do anything unless they start the turn.
That's fair. That is totally fair. No, I agree. Yeah, Crisis Control is the worst card here.
Then we go on to Red Sands.
Yeah, let's hit Red Sands. Man, this had so many, and then I was like, oh wait, never mind. This again has a single like worst card, or most powerful card. I mean.
I said Salvaged Vendea's Armory.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
this is the most, like, I know, like, it's not, I think Tributary was technically banned faster, but, like, the difference in power level between...
Oh, Tributary. Fuck, I forgot.
The difference in power level between this and Tributary is, like, comical. Like, Salvage Vendea's Armory was just, you're not playing Netrunner, the game is over. Tributary was, like, it warped the whole economic landscape, but you were still playing Netrunner. So like I think there's some other very powerful cards in Red Sands, but yeah, it's Salvage Vendea's Armory. For those who don't know, I will try and remember to put a link in the comments to the deck list. There was basically a 0 runs combo runner that could deck like 25 to 30 cards out of R&D.
Explain the combo. It's not even that complicated.
Yeah,
it's just like you would play. God, what was the the Dina Shakan
Ribs or whatever.
Okay, you played Cybernetic Ribs, which was when you install it, you take 2
Titanium Ribs, excuse me.
Titanium Ribs. When you install it, you take 2 meat damage, and then whenever you would take damage, you choose the cards that are hit. You're then playing 3 copies of Amped Up, which give you extra clicks and also deal you core damage. And then you also played the Dina Shakan, because when the Dina Shakan enters play and you have less than 6 credits, you take 3 meat damage. So you would play I've Had Worse, all these cards, and you would basically deal yourself like somewhere in the range of like 10-ish meat damage. And then the last 3 cards on your turn were Salvage Vendea's, Salvage Vendea's, Salvage Vendea's, all of which saw each other, all of which like saw your damage. You know, like, you would trash basically like 30 cards from the top of 30-ish cards from top of R&D.
Yeah.
I remember vividly, I was playtesting for FFG at the time. Michael Boggs was now the lead, taking over the reins, and he had to make the decision about whether Netrunner was going to have a ban list, basically. Mm-hmm. Because before the ban list, there was the most wanted list. And, like, it was like a long history lesson, but like many, many moons ago, card gamers used to be really way more apprehensive about ban lists. Like, having a ban list was seen as like sort of like a mark of shame, and like your game was a failure. Like, all these card games, like Game of Thrones, LCG, like they all had these alternative methods of balancing cards. But Netrunner was going to have a ban list now. And we were finalizing the ban list, and someone was like, hey, I heard about this deck. We thought the Salvage Vendea's combo was possible, but we'd never seen someone put it together. And then someone grabbed it, like some European tournament, I think like someone played it and got like 3rd. And we saw the deck list and we optimized it over a weekend, and like, you would regularly get turn 2 or turn 3 wins.
Yeah.
You could use like Bug Out Bag to draw out a bunch of your deck. You had just like all these tools to basically like, yeah, it was super optimized, super disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the...
I would give a quick shout out to like Clan Vengeance, Obokata, and Audacity were all like would be near misses. Like they would all be the cards I was ranking between if SVA wasn't printed. I think.
You're not putting Blue Moose on that list?
Oh, I forgot the blue. I saw this is one of those like, oh yeah, there's a banned card hole sometimes where I like forget that exists because it was just always been banned while I've been playing because I took a dip out when this like I wasn't actually actively playing when the set was released. So I did miss. Yeah, I forgot about that one too. Okay.
What's the worst card in Red Sands?
To me, it's Defense Construct.
Oh, that might be true.
This is a 2 to res card that has to be advanced, 0 to trash, and then trash add 1 face down card from archives to HQ for each advancement token on this card, and use this ability only during a run on archives.
It's definitely not good.
It is quite bad. I need to be playing. I mean, it's 3 influence, so I'm probably playing this out of HP. I need to convince the runner to run archives while I have this 0 to trash asset on the board that I can like res for 2 and then pop some of those cards into my hand.
Okay, I said my worst card was Condi Plaza.
Oh, I think I looked
terrible, dude.
I definitely looked at this card as an ob card at one point.
That's crazy that that's true.
No, it is no. Actually, maybe it wasn't ob. I definitely looked at this card in a draft once, and it almost made it into my draft deck because I had a bad draft. But
it's awful.
It's a very bad card. It's a very bad card.
I just feel like it's 3 to res. Like it's 3 to res. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I do think you're probably. I think this is like. Maybe Defense Construct is worse. I don't know. They're both like it's really close.
Yeah. We're really like we're pushing the real low end here.
Yeah, they're both awful. Next up is Terminal Directive.
Yeah. I went with a boring answer. I think there's 3 solid. There was 3 solid answers for me.
Did we both pick Estelle Moon?
Yeah.
It's Estelle Moon's busted. Like it's just busted.
I remember having an argument with someone like, "Oh, Estelle Moon's not that busted in draft because you can't reliably get pieces." I'm like, you don't understand. Estelle Moon is a single piece, and like, yeah, Estelle Moon is just such a powerful card. My honorable mentions go to both Brain Rewiring and original printing Maxwell James, as both being very powerful.
I had forgotten about original printing Maxwell James.
Yeah, original printing Maxwell James was nuts because the corp could res the ice. You could go into the encounter step and then de-res that ice, provided you would run HQ that turn, because the original wording was not. Was
the original wording not up on the RDB?
If you click on the image, the original wording is there. So it's de-res a piece of ice protecting a remote server usability only after successful run on HQ. So you had to. The way that this was interpreted was you had to have made a successful run on HQ this turn, but then at any point you could trash Maxwell James to de-res an ice. So you could wait till you were in the encounter step after the corporate res of Fairchild 3. Then you could de-res it. They would not have the ability to res at all, and you could just keep going. It got eroded to be closer to it's funny. This eroded text is almost exactly the same as Mag Electric Rapid, where it's you make a successful run HQ and you get to de-res a card. So.
What's the worst card in Terminal Directive, Jeff?
I said long-term investment.
Also said long-term investment. I think this is the first set. Where we got both.
Yeah. There was like, it's funny because like there's so many like attempts to make this card, but like this was the one that like stood out in this set as being like just quite bad.
I think illicit sales is close.
Yeah, illicit sales is definitely close.
But no, yeah, long-term investment is just like what were we even thinking here? Like this is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Kitara.
Yeah.
Who's going first here? I'll go first. I chose MT.
Okay. I chose what I think is the other. Well, actually, maybe not the other, but the other option that stood out to me. I think MT is a very good argument for the strongest. I chose Rashida Jaheim.
Oh, you're right, and I'm wrong. I forgot Rashida was in this set. Oh, man. No,
yeah.
It's Rashida.
Yeah. Like, MT was definitely... It's funny because, like, Rashida was never banned. MT was, like, banned quite strongly, but I think, Rashida almost wasn't banned because, like, you couldn't ban Rashida without, like, just nuking Corpse from orbit. And
I think once a year I want NSG to unban MT for a week, so I could just stop fucking listening to people telling me that actually MT was fine. We can unban it. Like,
the problem is the calls coming from inside the house. Like half of Snare Bears are MT apologists.
Sure, but I just think we should do like the purge. Like one day you get to play MT on JNet Casual.
So what did you? Okay.
I think the worst card is Plague.
I had that one too. Yeah.
Let's go. Plague's terrible. It doesn't do. It literally does nothing.
It's like the only card it can interact with, essentially, not actually, but effectively, is Freedom. And it's like there are so many better Freedom interaction points. Like,
it's so bad. It's like shocking me how bad that card is.
It is astounding. All right, Rain and Reverie, our last FFG set.
People are gonna know what cards we're talking about soon.
Yeah, this was actually I was like, this one was really hard for me to pick a worst one from.
There's not a lot of bad cards in this set.
Yeah.
What did you choose as your best card?
I had Game Changer as the best card in this set.
Oh, is Game Changer the best card? I think I chose Lies of Talking Thunder.
I think that's another very reasonable one.
I think my issue with the Game Changer thing is like that card only really got messed up because of Vacheron.
It's one of those ones where I think it was like Mega Pre and Vacheron like were both big parts of it, right? Like so like it definitely needed some support. I guess to me the thing was like Liza is like extremely over the curve tempo, but like was often I'm gonna say no, I don't think I can say with a straight face was a meta call.
Sure.
But it's like to me it's like Game Changer often made your matchups like just so binary when it was strong. And it felt like it was like it didn't take that long for it to get broken. But I think Liza's probably it's a much easier case to make, especially with the data we have, that Liza is the stronger card.
I chose my worst card as Algernon.
Yep, I had that. Yeah, it's like it's the worst card because there's just most of the other cards are like have a niche, and it's like Algernon is the one that really doesn't.
I almost like did. I almost chose District 99.
Oh yeah, but that's also playing like not in many of the very good Big Max decks, but I definitely like saw a little bit of there. I think what's her APIS Keeper Isabel I think is another solid one.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now we have our first NSG cycle, Ashes.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Project Vacheron is the strongest card in the set.
I think mine is better.
Okay.
I chose Rizeki. Because like the Vacheron thing is like
that's true. Okay.
The Vacheron thing is messed up, but like Rizeki just like warps how the entire game works.
Yeah. Rizeki changes. I mean, like, Rizeki changed the entire game. Yeah.
Do you think Rizeki would have been balanced if it was 3 influence?
I mean, I think it would still have the same, like, it would have the same fundamental problem, but
it would just be a Shaper issue.
It would be a Shaper issue, and Shaper was, like, I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like, Shaper was so bad in this era that, like, it may have gone under the radar for longer.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. What's your worst card?
I think Climactic Showdown.
That card's not that bad. Like it's bad,
I read it again, and I was like, wait, this card really does nothing though.
This card, I remember I had a call with Dividus, a playtest call, where like we gutted the shit out of this card last week.
Yeah. I mean, I can read that. Like busted. You read the text of this, and you're like, yeah, this was busted, and they had to just chop it down so it could survive. There's some other contenders as I'm scrolling, but to me, like, it just stands out for like maybe unfairly the amount of words to the size of effect it has in the game, like always like stands out to me. I said Hayubu Institute. Oh, I think Climatic Showdown is much worse than Hayubu Institute.
That's crazy. What are you talking about? This ID doesn't do anything.
No, you can click for a credit. It's fine.
I got bad news. You can click for a credit anyway. Like, what do you mean?
I can click to see the card in the runner's hands to set up my complete image kill. Like, there was things that Hayobu could do. They were not good things, but to me, I'm like, I don't know. The other one to me that I would maybe is like increased drop rates. To me is like a card that like has never done a thing to a soul in its entire existence.
Yeah, that's like pretty valid. Yeah, increased drop rates is awesome. I will say like I love NSG, but looking at some of these corp IDs, I'm like, man, what were we doing back then?
They were, like, yeah. Ashes has some real rough corp IDs.
Yeah. Next up we have System Gateway.
Yeah, System Gateway. I said seamless launch for this one.
That might be true. I said R+. I think you're probably right that it's seamless launch. Yeah, it's probably seamless launch. It's actually like really messed. Seamless launch is like a pretty messed up card.
Yeah. I like it's one of those ones where it's like I think it is. Yeah, it's messed up, but I'm glad I'm personally glad it's in the game. I hope it does rotate at some point, but I've been enjoying it in Netrunner for now, for sure.
Yeah, I think card games need busted cards. Like that's the fun thing. What my worst card for System Gateway was Smartware Distributor.
Okay, that was mine too. Yeah. I
think it's just
someone's looking at me with Carnivore in the comments, but I
No, Carnivore is better than Smartware Distributor. I also think like Verbal Plasticity is close to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree on. I think Verbal Plasticity is maybe a little bit. Verbal Plasticity is noticeably better than Smartware Distributor, but it's not a good card.
Okay, so for Borealis.
Yeah.
My card was Endurance.
Mine was Endurance, but like there are so many fucked up cards in Borealis.
I think so. My argument for Borealis was like, for Endurance was that I think that it's similar to Sifter in a way where it's like fundamentally warping a part of the game, and like Nana Civic Grid. I think Nana Civic Grid was only actually as problematic as it ended up being just because of
IG
Egg Infusion.
I like there's like it's like one of those things where it's like I think you could unban Nana Civic Grid right now and it wouldn't actually do much if anything. I agree with that. I don't think you like I don't know that you should, but I think you totally could. I think there's a world where like I'm like Keeling probably does more than Nana Civic Grid does right now, but like both of those were problem cards because of how they interacted with the Ag Infusion to me more so than how they were just strong.
I also think Drago is like a pretty reasonable choice, but the thing I think about Drago is like I think that's kind of not a plus issue, and I also think like you can print a card like New Angelo City Hall again that actually like makes this card not good.
Yeah.
But like, or like a Quenjin PT or whatever.
Yeah.
The motorbike card. Yeah, but I do think that like
you can't print a card that
Endurance.
Makes Endurance
like, what do you do?
Good. Yeah.
Like, Endurance. What do you do?
Endurance just destroys part of the game of Netrunner on its install, which is wild.
Yeah. What was your worst card?
Ampere. Ampere, I think, is so destructive to trying to make anything cohesive that it hurts you more. Like, it was hard for me to find cards. To me, it was the closest I could get to a card that was actively harmful to put in my deck out of the board.
What about Super Deep Borehole?
I mean
that was mine.
Super Deep Borehole's a good one. people lose to super deep bore. I mean, I guess people lose to Ampere.
That's
as well,
crazy.
right?
Who are these people? That's insane.
Hand goes up. I've lost to a
How
borehole.
did you lose this? We're kicking you out of the testing group. What the hell happened?
I don't think I was playing a tournament deck, but it was embarrassing. I think
I can deal with this in 3 turns.
Yeah, exactly. I can deal with this in 3 turns. Oh shoot, I can't find all my icebreakers. Oh no, I only have 1 turn left. Oh, they've got 2 border controls there. I'm fucked. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Next up we have Liberation.
Yeah.
I chose opposition research.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of like good cards in the set though. Like,
yeah.
There's no clear like, oh yeah, this is like just obviously the best thing in the set to me, in my view.
I think Tributary to me is the obvious best thing in the set.
Sure. Yeah,
like,
maybe
it's easy for me. I mean, especially because I said, oh, it's not that good of a card, and like it's then like a month later is banned. But like, I do think Tributary, it's like unassuming how warping it was to the format, and like it's like, oh, it killed criminal. Like it killed a lot of runner interaction.
Yeah.
And like, I think Oppo is is probably like is one of the cards that like had to do the most heavy lifting, but I think Tributary just ended up accidentally being one of the strongest in the set for how it warps play patterns.
I agree 100%.
Weakest was hard for me here.
I felt pretty good about it. I said Amelia Earhart.
Oh, okay. I said Chrysopean Skimming.
Oh, that might be just true. Yeah, that card's terrible. That card is like one of those like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It is skimming for sure.
Last one.
I won the last set.
Last one. Yeah, we made good time. We made much better time than I thought we were going to.
Yeah.
He says an hour 46 into the recording.
Well, hey, you gotta
48.
Like,
Yeah. So I guess you went first last one. I'm gonna say, man, it's funny as I'm saying this. I'm looking at what I wrote down. I'm like, do I actually believe this? But it's what I've written down, so I'm gonna say Nebula.
Oh, I don't think that. I mean, like, I think it's just gonna be like as soon as like a Clot reprint hits the table, it's just gonna be like, oh, this idea's fine.
I guess I imagine like flashing back a couple years before we rotated all of the playable NBN ice and all of the playable low influence and neutral ice, and like imagining jumping. It's like, oh, if we export a Nebula Talisman, like if we swapped Nebula Talisman and NEH, like it would still have been making a lot of those same waves, and there wasn't anything else that stood out as high to me. Though I'm sure you're about to say something, I'll be like, oh right, obviously that's better. So
I think Madani actually.
Oh, okay.
I think Madani is gonna be one of those cards where like in this card pool right now, it's maybe not the best thing. I think it's like Madani like specifically is weak to kill asset strategy, which is like one of the most dominant things you can do in Netrunner right now. But I do think,
well,
if
actually,
the format
was the most powerful thing you could do. Maybe Worlds. This is gonna be Madani's Worlds. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I think Madani fucking shits on Leo like straight up, and I think that like any deck that like Madani, I think just puts like a hard clock on the game in a way that few cards do, and it's just like really messed up. I don't know. I love Madani's shape. I think it's really strong. I think like my honorable mention is probably Oko, but like I do think Madani is just fundamentally rule breaking in a way that makes me be like, oh yeah, maybe like not now, but like in a set or two, like if Shaper gets a few more econ tools. Like I think Creative Commission coming back is already a massive shot in the arm for Madani.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout out. I think Madani. I actually agree with you. Madani definitely seems like the most powerful card we're talking about. I was like, oh, we could almost do a transfer of wealth and bring ourselves back full circle, but Madani is so much better than transfer of wealth. It's kind of not even.
What's the worst card for you in Elevation?
I swear this isn't to troll you, but Detente.
Oh, I don't even know if people like know. I guess I can just like tell this story probably. Like I know this one's so like Detente was like famously in Elevation testing was the card I hated the most. Like let me just like you gotta trust me that there was a point in time where detente was infinitely more fucked up. I know you're looking at detente right now, and you're like, it has all these conditions. How could it be bad? Like, how could it be better? The answer is it could be a lot better. It could be awful. It could be like the worst Netrunner card you've ever played against. And there was like a point where I just had to start putting up like LFG posts in like the testing chat that was like, I want to play a game. No detente, please. And then I got my set in the mail, and the first thing I did was I used scissors and I cut up all my copies of Detente because I'm never fucking playing that card. I think it is. I said Shred.
I guess I have a hard time. I think I view Shred as like, this is a card for core set, Analytic Void, Manic Arm remotes, and so it has a use to me. And so like I can kind of say the other one to me is like Hantu. I think is also came in pretty under the numbers for how conditional it is.
Yeah. I think Hantu's a good shot.
Yeah.
That's it, basically.
That's it. Yeah, we did.
That was fun.
Yeah, I had originally done the like system cores and like rev cores and stuff, but I think skipping those was the right call. But
yeah, sorry, I thought it made sense to skip them because.
Yeah, no, this was fun. It's also like it was fun to go back. It was really fun, especially for people that have been playing a long time. It's a lot of fun to go back through memory lane. For people who have not been playing as long, if any of these conversations or cycles like sound really good, the thing I would probably recommend doing is going to find the Terminal 7 podcast. To me, that's one of the great like conversational memory thing. If you want to go back and be like, what did it feel like? What was the discussion like back then? Like that would be my recommendation to get kind of more of this vibe of like that sort of stuff. But Sam's, thanks so much for proposing this idea and getting this show rolling. This was a really fun conversation. I hope everyone enjoys tuning into it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jeff. And it was a lot of fun, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.